Story 1. The Call That Knew Too Much. It was just past midnight when my phone rang. I remember the time clearly because I'd just checked it a few minutes before. Thinking about going to sleep, it was 12:07 a.m. I wasn't expecting any calls. No one really calls me that late. At first, I ignored it. I thought it might be one of those spam calls or a wrong number. It rang for a bit, then stopped. Silence again. I went back to my phone, scrolling for a minute, trying to get tired. Then it rang again. Same number. No caller ID. That's when I picked up. I don't know why. Curiosity, I guess. Hello. Silence. Not complete silence. I could hear something. Breathing. Very faint. Hello. I said again. Still nothing. Just that quiet, steady breathing. I felt a bit uneasy, but I tried to stay calm. Who is this? The breathing stopped. Then the call ended. I sat there for a second, staring at my phone, trying to make sense of it. Probably a prank, or someone messing around. That's what I told myself. I locked my phone and put it down. About 30 seconds later, it rang again. Same number. This time, I didn't want to answer, but I did. Listen, if this is some kind of... You're still awake. The voice cut me off. My stomach dropped instantly. It was calm, flat, almost bored. What? I said, confused. You're still awake, he repeated. I felt something tighten in my chest. How do you know that? A pause, then a quiet response. Because your light is still on. I froze. Completely. I didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't even breathe properly. My room light was on. Slowly, I turned my head. Looked at my bedroom window. The curtains were slightly open. Just enough for someone outside to see in. I stood up immediately. Walked over. And pulled them shut. My hands were shaking now. I brought the phone back to my ear. Who is this? No answer. Then, a soft chuckle. You closed them. My chest felt tight again. I stepped back from the window. How are you? Where are you? Another pause. Then, closer than you think. The call ended. I stared at my phone. My heart was racing now. Not fast, just heavy. Like every beat was louder than it should be. I didn't know what to do. Call someone. Call the police. But what would I even say? I stood there for a minute, just listening. The house was silent. Too silent. Then my phone buzzed again. A message. From the same number. I opened it. Don't turn the lights off. I felt a chill run through me. Why would he say that? I looked around my room. Everything felt different now. Exposed. I walked to my door. Locked it. Checked it twice. Then I turned off the light. I don't know why. Maybe to see outside better. Maybe to feel less visible. The room went dark. I slowly walked back to the window. Carefully pulled the curtain just enough to look out. The street was empty. No one there. Just the usual parked cars. Streetlights. Stillness. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. I told you not to do that. My heart dropped. I stepped back immediately. He could see me, but I couldn't see him. That's what made it worse. I turned the light back on. Quickly. My hands were shaking now. Properly shaking. Another message. That's better. I felt sick. I didn't reply. Didn't know what to say. Then the phone rang again. I hesitated, but answered. Please stop, I said immediately. A pause. Then his voice again. You're alone tonight. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. My throat felt dry. No, I'm not, I lied. Another pause. Then, yes, you are. I didn't respond. You checked the doors earlier, he continued. Front door first, then the back. My stomach dropped. That was true. I had done that. But no one was there. No one could have seen me. How do you know that? I whispered, a slight shift in his tone, almost amused. I've been watching for a while. I stepped back toward the wall. My whole body felt tense. Then he said something that made everything worse. You missed one. I froze. What? A pause. Then quietly. The window. Silence. The call ended. I stood there, not moving, not thinking. Then slowly, I turned my head toward my bedroom window, the one behind the curtain, the one I thought was closed. I walked toward it, slowly, carefully, reached out, and pulled the curtain back, just a little. And that's when I saw it. The window wasn't fully shut, just slightly open, enough for someone to. My phone buzzed again. I looked down. One last message. Now you see it. I didn't go near the window again that night. I just sat there, staring at my phone, waiting for it to ring. It never did. But even now, I still check that window every night before I sleep. Story 2. The knock that wouldn't stop. It was around 1:20 a.m. when the first knock came. I remember the time because I just checked my phone, debating whether to sleep or stay up a bit longer. The house was completely quiet. My parents were away for the night, and I was alone. It didn't feel creepy at first, just quiet. The knock was soft, not aggressive, just 2 quick taps on the front door. I frowned, thinking I'd imagined it. No one comes to the door at that time, especially not where I live. I stayed still for a few seconds, listening. Nothing. I went back to my phone, tried to ignore it. Then it came again. 2 knocks, slightly louder this time. I sat up properly. Now it felt real. I muted my phone and listened carefully. Silence. I stood up slowly and walked out of my room. The hallway was dark, only a bit of light coming from downstairs. I made my way to the top of the stairs, stopped, and listened. Nothing. Part of me wanted to just go back, pretend it wasn't happening, but something about it didn't sit right. I walked down the stairs slowly, each step creaking slightly. When I got to the bottom, I could see the front door. Closed. Still. No shadows. No movement. I stood there for a moment, just staring at it. Then, another knock. This time, louder. Clear. Right in front of me. I flinched, heart jumping. It wasn't random anymore. Someone was definitely there. I didn't move closer, didn't speak, just stood there. Then a voice. Hello. Male. Calm. I think you dropped something earlier. I didn't respond. I hadn't been out. Not all night. I found your wallet. He continued. My stomach tightened. That didn't make sense. I had my wallet upstairs. I stayed silent. Can you open the door for a second? The tone was normal, almost polite, but something about it felt off. I took a small step back. I'll just leave it here if you want, he said. Another pause. Then, a light tap against the door, like he was placing something down. I swallowed. Part of me wanted to check. Just open the door quickly, grab it, and close it. But something stopped me. Instead, I walked slowly toward the door. Stopped just before it. There's a small gap beside the curtain near the door. Enough to see outside if you angle it right. I leaned slightly, carefully, and looked. There was nothing on the ground. No wallet. No item. Just the empty doorstep. My chest tightened. Then I noticed something else. The man wasn't standing directly in front of the door. He was slightly to the side, out of view, like he knew where I'd look. I stepped back immediately. That's when he spoke again. You're there, aren't you? My heart started racing. I can hear you. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then, a slow scrape against the door, like something being dragged lightly across it. My hands felt cold. "Why aren't you opening it?" he asked. The tone had changed. Slightly. Less friendly. "I'm just trying to help you." Another scrape. Longer this time. I backed away slowly. Step by step. Then, 3 loud knocks. Hard. Sudden. I flinched again. "Open the door." Not a request anymore. A pause. Then softer. "I know you're alone." My stomach dropped. I hadn't made a sound. There was no way he could know that. I grabbed my phone. Thought about calling someone. Then, silence. The knocking stopped. The voice stopped. Everything stopped. I stood there for a few seconds. Waiting. Listening. Nothing. I didn't move for at least a minute. Then slowly, I walked back toward the door. Not to open it. Just to listen. I leaned closer. Nothing. I looked through the gap again. The doorstep was empty. He was gone. I locked the door again, even though it was already locked. Checked it twice. Then I went upstairs. Locked my bedroom door. Didn't sleep. I stayed awake until morning. When the sun came up, everything felt normal again. I went downstairs. Stood in front of the door. Took a breath. And opened it. Nothing was there. No wallet. No sign of anyone. Just the doorstep. I was about to close it. Then I noticed something. Right next to the door. Low down. Near the handle. Scratches. Thin. Repeated. Like something had been dragged across it. Over and over again. Then I saw one more thing. On the wall. Right beside the door frame. A faint mark. Like someone had been standing there. Pressed close. Out of sight. Exactly where I hadn't been able to see. I didn't open the door after that. Didn't even go near it. But now, every time someone knocks late at night, I don't check who's there anymore. Story 3. The sound from upstairs. It was around 2 a.m. when I first heard it. I was in the living room, lights dimmed, TV on low volume. One of those nights where you tell yourself you'll go to bed soon, but you just don't. The house felt normal. Quiet. Comfortable. My parents were staying overnight somewhere else, and I was alone. I'd checked all the doors earlier. Locked. Windows too. Everything was how it should be. The sound was small. Easy to miss. A faint thud. From upstairs. I didn't react straight away. Just paused the TV and listened. Silence. I waited a few seconds. Then pressed play again. Probably nothing. The house settling. Pipes. Something like that. Then it came again. Another thud. Slightly louder. I muted the TV. Sat still. Now I was listening properly. There it was again. A soft, dragging sound. From upstairs. My chest tightened a little. Not panic. Just that feeling. That something wasn't right. I stared toward the staircase. The darkness at the top looked deeper than usual. I told myself to relax. It's just the house. But it didn't feel like the house. The sound came again. This time clearer. Like something moving across the floor. Slowly. I stood up. Without really thinking. Walked toward the stairs. Stopped at the bottom. And listened. Silence. I took a step up. Then another. Each step creaked slightly. Louder than usual. Halfway up, I stopped again. Listened. Nothing. I reached the top of the stairs. The hallway was dark. Still. All the doors were closed. Exactly how I left them. I stood there, trying to hear anything. Then, a soft tap. From my parents' room. The door was shut. I stared at it. Waiting. Another tap. Like something hitting the floor. I felt my breathing slow down. Not because I was calm, but because I didn't want to make any noise. I walked toward the door. Slowly. Each step careful. I stopped just outside. Listened. Nothing. I reached for the handle. Paused. Something didn't feel right. Then, a faint sound. From inside. Breathing. Low. Uneven. My hand froze on the handle. My chest felt tight again. There was no one supposed to be in there. No one. I stepped back quietly. The breathing continued, then stopped. Silence. I stood there, trying to think, trying to decide what to do. Then, the handle moved. From the inside. Just slightly. A soft click. I stumbled back. Heart racing now. Properly racing. The door didn't open. Just stopped. Like whoever was inside was testing it. Waiting. I didn't move. Didn't speak. Then slowly, the handle returned to its position. Silence again. I backed away. Step by step. Turned. And walked straight back to the stairs. Carefully. Quietly. I didn't run. Didn't want to make noise. When I got downstairs, I locked the front door again. Checked the back door. Everything. Then I grabbed my phone. Sat on the sofa. Listening. Every second felt longer than it should. I didn't hear anything else. No footsteps. No movement. Nothing. At some point, I must have fallen asleep. Because when I opened my eyes, it was morning. Sunlight coming through the windows. Everything looked normal again. Too normal. I sat up slowly, remembering everything. My chest tightened again. I stood up, looked toward the stairs. Still. Quiet. I walked up slowly, each step careful. The hallway looked the same. The door to my parents' room was open, slightly. I knew I didn't leave it like that. I approached it, pushed it open slowly. The room was empty. Nothing out of place. No sign anyone had been there. I stood there for a moment, trying to understand. Then I noticed something. The window, wide open, the curtains moving slightly in the breeze. I walked over, looked outside. Nothing, just the garden. Quiet, still. I closed the window, locked it, then turned to leave. That's when I saw it. On the floor, near the bed. Marks, dirty footprints. Faint, but clear enough. Leading from the window to the door, and then out into the hallway. I followed them. Slowly, they led all the way to the top of the stairs, and then stopped. Right there, like whoever made them had just stood there, looking down. I didn't go upstairs again that night. Didn't even look toward the stairs. But now, every time I hear something above me, I just pretend I didn't.